integration is possible in almost all Wikipedia, and we will do more rendering variations in this. And how this integration, what all considered is done is first we a link from OSM Wiki to Wikipedia, and we can accomplish this by just locate, there will be a OSM map in the OSM Wiki, and then just locate a join, and there will be a template like this template, and we can just copy into our article, and this is one way. And then another linking is from Wikipedia to OSM, and we link from Wikipedia to OSM. These are image description pages for the map images we upload them. And to simplify setting of image description, there are various templates. These all templates are available in this link. And then another is link to Wikipedia articles from within the OSM map data. And that is for Wikipedia, it would be interesting to draw real OSM objects that were linked to Wikipedia articles in a map inside the Wikipedia article. And a tool to create such links is available here. And about the contribution is of OpenStreetMap, there is only less contribution in this. Almost about 10% of the registered users are contributing in this Wikipedia OpenStreetMap. So we need to make more people about the, we need to make aware about this OpenStreetMap to more people, and we should make more and more contribution in this OpenStreetMap so that we can well use this integration purpose with Wikipedia, so that we can attract more users and also more developers. And about this integration, there is a mailing list available, and here is the mailing list link. And there is but limited discussions are only available in this mailing list. So we need to aware about this project to more and more people to make it more live. And then, even though there is an intensive and ongoing cooperation between German, Wikipedia and OpenStreetMap, the work of this cooperation has to be done in every local language and thus for all language versions of Wikipedia. And do you know about a foundation OSGeo? This OSGeo is a foundation that supports this projects like OpenStreetMap and other GIS projects. And this OSGeo chapter can help us in contributing or integration work. They can also help us. And in Kerala, there is a OSGeo chapter. It started doing last year, and they are taking initiative of mapping through of this OpenStreetMap mapping through more and more camps. And with the help of OSGeo Kerala chapter, Wikipedians at Kerala can does the integration like German Wikipedia, and so that we can also do the mapping like this. And a collaboration setup, that is this integration should be needed to accomplish this. So that and also content adding in OpenStreetMap is also an essential thing as Wikipedia for division. So the Wikimedia Foundation should see this also as a major activity of introducing OpenStreetMap along with the Wikipedia. These are all the Wikipedia reference I have taken. And then, thank you.
Any questions? Hi, thank you for the presentation. If you don't mind, I'll sit and ask. What do you want from the contributors? How can we help?
And we can add more contribution means it will just log into OpenStreetMap This OpenStreetMap is available at www.openstreetmap.org, and then just using your local language you can add mapping, and also if you have GPS devices or any such devices, you can just go to that survey and can upload the data there. There are some softwares where we can upload data locally. There it is Java also is available. There are more softwares available for it.
How many Indian languages rendered till date?
214.
How many Indian languages? 279 languages all over the world. How many Indian languages at present?
I don't know that about that.
Map rendering is there in almost all languages.
And here map rendering is done in almost all languages.
While referring to you compare the local Wikipedia or the local voice, that time you said there is a problem that we cannot take the voice from local voice to all languages. But we have even have this local Wikipedias. And you said there is a problem that you cannot have local voice of some doubt like that. You please clarify that. Now you said the 279 languages voice of language.
Map rendering.
The map rendering was done in 279 languages. If you look at all the places are named as in English. There's only one language used all over the world, and all over the world are using the same OSM.
Same website they are using.
They are using the same database and also same website.
So you have to just select the language you want. The voice.
You see the URLs again, please.
This one?
And basically this is for getting data into Wikipedia, right? For geotagging.
We can get the map data into Wikipedia, and also where we can available the Wikipedia a short description of a link to Wikipedia can also be available at OpenStreetMap. That link can be made available.
Okay. So with this, the geotagging will continue. Since it would be much more accurate than what is provided now as coordinates.
And this is a community project.
Okay.
Therefore, if there is any problem, we can make it correct by using this community itself.
Okay. And integrating earlier on Google is integrated.
And that Google Map is a proprietary software that is not in open license. The only open license software available is this OpenStreetMap. And when this OpenStreetMap and Wikipedia have a lot of similarities. That is why we are choosing this OpenStreetMap.
And this Arun there, probably. So since you were explaining about the geotagging of contents, you were also telling that it wasn't too accurate that people will verify the geotag contents. So why don't you explore GeoPlanet API from Yahoo?
So I'll just quickly clarify. Yahoo, Google, everything, they're all proprietary. So when you derive data from your APIs, you're inheriting the restrictions from using the service.
Yeah.
So it's not compatible with Wikipedia license.
So what about GeoPlanet?
Even Google.
GeoPlanet is free. All you get is you have a specific number called OID, where on earth ID.
Right.
Yeah. So you could use that to geotag your contents, and with time you can you would get much more accurate data, and it has vertical as well as horizontal levels. You'll have all administrative levels which goes back right to earth. From there you'll get all countries, admin levels. Yeah, so yeah, okay. So could we? Yeah.
Just one point. Just one point.
Yeah.
Actually, he was told about adding content in local language through OpenStreetMap. I just want to point out one thing. mainly in Indic languages, the rendering of OpenStreetMap is not that much proper. So I think this OSM team also has to pay more concentration of eliminating those rendering issues of Indic languages.
Okay, that's an awesome technical issue. Let's not make it too.
Okay. I invite the next speaker. We can take it offline, all the questions. I'm sorry. We can. I invite the next speaker. This is about language supporting Wikipedia.
It looks like I prepared the presentation on smaller resolution and the technology is actually better than I expected. Let's see if I can fix that. Okay, looks like I can. So the sheets will be a little bit smaller than the screen. My apologies. So my name is Sivan Mazeland. I'm a product manager localization at the Wikimedia Foundation, which basically means that I'm responsible for language support in MediaWiki, together with a team of developers and an outreach coordinator. MediaWiki is the software that Wikipedia runs on, and it's used also a lot elsewhere. There are hundreds of thousands of at least estimated citation needed installations elsewhere worldwide. It's usable in about 300 languages, and there are about 7,500 of classified languages, so we're missing out on a few. So what is language support all about? Well, one aspect of language support is the user interface. How does MediaWiki talk to users? Another aspect is input. How can you add content to MediaWiki? And also very important, of course, is how is content represented once you look at it in a web browser or a mobile device, or I don't know, on a text-to-speech reader. Anything else? I introduced to you the localization team, but there are many people working on language support in MediaWiki. Most of the time is actually volunteer time. We have thousands of translators in translatewiki.net for MediaWiki. At 2 o'clock there's going to be a translation sprint. Hopefully by that time the wireless network will be up, and if you want to contribute to the localization in any Indic language, please attend that session. It's in this room at 2 o'clock. We have language support teams, people that help us test language features and that describe language properties that I will get into a little bit later. And we have, of course, volunteer developers that contribute to code. Within the foundation we have the localization team and, of course, other developers. People that we make aware of the aspects of internationalization. So internationalization, what is that? That is making software ready for the use in multiple languages. It's a stage that is needed before you can actually translate an application. It's implementing all the concepts that you need for key-based messages and that kind of stuff. So user interface internationalization is about plural. User interface internationalization. Could everyone please set their telephones to mute? It would save us some distractions. It's about plural forms. It's about things like gender, talking to users and about users in the right gender. It's about, in MediaWiki, about namespace names and magic words being available in local languages, or URLs being localized, or at least in the last part. it's about prefixes and suffixes in grammatical cases. It's about number conversion for non-Latin scripts, especially in some Indic languages. It's very relevant. It's about toolbar buttons also. It's about script conversion, something we haven't yet dealt with for Indic languages, but we may deal with for an Indic language, like Konkani, a language that is written in, I think, 5 different scripts, including a right-to-left script, like Arabic. Well, something like for Western developers like myself, but especially for native English speakers to remember, is that a lot of languages may look like English and may work like English, but in India, for example, in India or China or Japan, that is definitely not true. It's also not true in Israel and most of the Arabic world. So it's something we have to address if we, as the Wikimedia Foundation, want to facilitate the global movement and bring knowledge to everyone. So then we have, next to the internationalization part, we have the user interface localization part, which is the process of translating an application so it can be used in a certain language or in a certain language country combination. It includes things like text and icons and symbolism and cultures, and we use translatewiki.net for that. At translatewiki.net we translate MediaWiki in as many languages as possible. We have also people checking the English messages because developers do really strange things to the initial user interface language messages that they add. So we checked for style, we checked for patchwork messages. Patchwork messages are terminology for one part of a sentence, then a number that is added in the code, and then concatenated with another part of a sentence, and that doesn't work in most languages except for English. We add support for gender and plural forms and all that kind of stuff. So this is the localization part. Now on to internationalization and the input side of things. Not every language is the same, I've already explained that, and unfortunately some languages are still in the digital Middle Ages. There are still scripts in this world. Well, there are languages in this world that have never been written, so they don't even have script. But there are also languages that have been written that they don't have a font, or they don't have an open font, or they don't have a font that has been assigned space in Unicode. And these are all things that need to be dealt with basically before we can properly support the language in MediaWiki and subsequently in have a Wikipedia for such a language. One example is near to you is Malayalam, which has had its Unicode representation changed between 5.1 and 6.0. We've had a very interesting technical discussion about it recently. But what we try to do is choose the lesser of all evils. We have to basically make do, and there is hardly a perfect solution, especially if you're looking at things like it has to be open, it has to be free. Next week we'll be talking to developers at Red Hat in Pune, for example, about trying to get fonts for all Indic languages that we have Wikipedias in, and trying to get a grasp of the actual issues that are behind it. So back to input. What you see here is a keyboard for Tibetan. I've also seen the InScript keyboards, and they mean very little to me. But it looks like there are multiple scripts that you can that are put on that keyboard. It all looks very complex to me, and it must frustrate you sometimes, I guess, to use those if you input in your native languages. But next to those InScript keyboards or Tibetan keyboard, not every user is the same. You don't always use the same computer, so you don't always have that particular keyboard. Or and there's many languages that are affected by this in India and also in Africa. Languages like Bengali, Hindi, Tamil, Malayalam, but in Africa also Amharic, for example. So a while ago, some very excellent volunteers like Unite and Santosh came up with basically gadgets or user scripts in the various Wikipedias for Indic languages to make key mappings where you could just use your US keyboard and have and then type. There's an image here that shows that mapping. So capital A maps to, I'm sorry, I don't know the character, etc., etc. There's also more complex mappings where you have multiple keystrokes that combine into a different character. Eventually, this functionality evolved into what is now called Narayam, and it's active on a few handful of Indic language projects. I think it's Tamil, Sanskrit, Hindi, maybe a few.
Oriya.
Okay, Oriya, yes, definitely. Thank you, Alorida. And in the future, we plan to have on-screen keyboards to make it even easier, because we think that the barrier to entry for keyboard mapping may be a little high if there's no way to find out what key maps to what other character, except for finding that out by actually touching the keys. So we can improve there, but at least there is something now, and well, I'm very much looking forward to your feedback. I'm trying to be as short as possible in this presentation so we can have a little bit of a discussion now. About 15 minutes left until our last presenter has to start. And the second feature that I wanted to point out here is for output, which is what we're coming to web fonts, because not all users have all fonts that they need to display text that is used in MediaWiki installed. And well, you can make something like the above into something like the below, which is, I guess,